of the tragic Saturday evening accident. Family members, friends, and political leaders, including Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen and Transport CS David Chirichi, received the bodies at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport before escorting them in a solemn convoy to Nairobi.
Jioni hii tumefika hapa funeral home kutoka Eldoret ambapo tumefikisha the 6 bodies ya Mheshimiwa Johana Ngeno, pilot na wasaidizi wake 4. Bado natoa condolences to the families, to the people of Kenya, to the Parliament of Kenya.
Tangu asubuhi tumekuwa tukipanga ili hizi miili ama hizi bodies sifikishwe hapa. Tumefikisha na tunataka tu kuambia wananchi wetu wa Kenya ya kwamba yale yamefanyika.
Kwanza kabisa, our bodies are in very bad shape. Hatutafanya viewing. Tunataka kuona ya kwamba kesho they'll work on them.
We knew the honorable member personally. I knew past 3 of the members in a personal way. The honorable Johana Ngeno, the pilot George Were, and Carlos.
We have just received the bodies like I indicated, and very unfortunate indeed, and we really wish to condole with the families, the members of parliament, and wish to assure you as the ministry will work to establish what exactly happened before the fateful crash.
Kama kuna mtu ambaye ako close na Mheshimiwa Johana Ngeno, labda mimi ni mmoja yao, sababu I'm the brother-in-law na namjua yeye sana, tumefanya kazi pamoja. So nataka tu kutoa uonyo ama kuwaomba wa ndugu zetu. Kuna njia mingi ya kutafuta kura, lakini kutafuta kura kwa kifo sidhani kama ni desturi yetu ya Kiafrika ama desturi ya Wakenya.
And moving on with the same story, hundreds of residents of Emurua Dikir constituency alongside local leaders have continued visiting the home of the late Member of Parliament Johana Ngeno to offer condolences and support to his bereaved family. A sober mood prevailed among those who were gathered, with many expressing shock and grief over Ngeno's sudden passing. Community members described his death as a devastating loss to the constituency, highlighting the profound impact of his leadership and service. Visitors, including political figures and local elders, commended Ngeno for his dedication to education development and justice in the region, emphasizing that his absence leaves a significant void in public service and community advocacy.
Tulistuka sana, hatukulala, tulipiga nduru usiku, tulikuwa hii town, tukilala kwa lami, tukipiga nduru.
Sijui nitalitaje namba yake, sijui nitakuwa nini. Amenisomesha tangu form 1 up to form 4. I don't know. May his soul rest in peace.
He got 3 times bila break. So in fact tulishukuru uongozi yake. Mashule tumepata ya kutosha. So we love him. Tunapenda. Hata saa hii vile ameenda mshangao kubwa kwetu.
I sincerely want to pass my condolences. Pray to God that his soul may rest in eternal peace. And at this juncture, I also want to appeal to Emurua Dikir residents. I know you've been hit very hard.
The United Opposition has called for a swift and independent investigation into the helicopter crash that claimed the life of Emurua Dikir Member of Parliament Johana Ngeno and 5 others. Speaking during a church service, the United Opposition, led by Rigathi Gachagua, asked the government to conduct a comprehensive inquiry to establish the circumstances surrounding the fatal accident. He said the probe must be transparent and credible to assure the public of its integrity. Gachagua further alleged that the late MP had been coerced into signing an impeachment document against him under pressure from the president. He claimed Ngeno had faced intimidation and duress prior to his death. The opposition leader also demanded that Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen step aside to pave way for investigation, citing previous efforts to make sure that he is out of the position.
He's my great friend, and he is my political ally and a confidant, and he has been very close to me for a very long time. In Kisumu, he called me before I was hounded out of office, and he told me what William Ruto is planning, and he was very disturbed. And he felt that by Ruto doing what he intended to do, he would destabilize his own government. And I was in Kisumu, he came to see me. And once Ruto learned that he was coming to see me in Kisumu, he sent the National Intelligence Service to bag my room so that he can record the conversation between me and Johana Ngeno. And we had a big discussion, and he told me what he was going through and the way he was being persecuted for fighting for the rights of the Kipsigis people. He told me that a plan had been hatched to remove me from office because I was also fighting for the interests of my community the way he was fighting for his community. And he told me he was opposed to it, and he felt the president would destabilize his own government, which has happened. And he said he would do whatever he needs to try to persuade him. And immediately the recording was taken to William Ruto. He was summoned, and he was thoroughly intimidated, and he was a very worried man. So when it came to the impeachment process, he came to...
And moving on, 3 people have been confirmed dead and several others injured after a lorry transporting building materials northeast brakes and rammed into a Rosie Traders in Cabernet Town, Baringo County. The truck reportedly plowed into vendors border riders and a parked vehicle before overturning, causing panic in the busy town center. Witnesses said the vehicle appeared to have developed brake failure moments before the crash. According to Baringo County Referral Hospital Medical Officer Dr. Festus Kepngetich, 13 casualties were received at the facility following the accident, and 7 of the injured were treated and stabilized, while 3 critically injured patients were referred to a higher level hospital for specialized care.
An RTA that occurred in Cabernet Town. So of this, there were 13 patients. Of this, 7 were stable and we were able to manage them effectively. Then 3 of the patients currently are in critical conditions. We were able to refer them to a higher facility for better care. And then we have 3. Unfortunately, we lost 3 of our patients.
Kakamega Governor Fernandez Baraza strongly condemned a deadly attack on Nalenya police post in Mumias West County that left 1 police officer dead and other injured. Speaking in Quisero, Governor Baraza termed the incident unfortunate and called on security agencies to conduct thorough investigations to ensure those responsible are swiftly apprehended and brought to justice. He further urged authorities to intensify security operations across Kakamega County to curb rising insecurity and guarantee the safety of residents. The governor emphasized the need for collaborative efforts between security agencies and the community to prevent civil attacks in the future, noting that law enforcement officers play a critical role in maintaining peace and order.
Mimi nataka kuomba vyombo vya usalama, you must apprehend those thugs ili wachukuliwe hatua za kisheria. We shall not rest until those thugs have been arrested. Na yule askari ambaye alijeruhiwa tunamwombea afueni kwa sababu he was in line of duty. Mimi naomba GSU wafanye kazi yao kusaka wale majambazi bila kujeuri wale ambao walijeruhiwa. Tunamwombea afueni kwa sababu he was in line of duty. Mimi naomba GSU wafanye kazi yao kusaka wale majambazi bila kujeuri wale ambao.
Opposition leaders have stepped up their criticism for President William Ruto's administration, accusing it of ignoring public concerns and contributing to growing dissatisfaction among Kenyans. Speaking during a chance service, former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i faulted the government for what he described as taking the Kenyan public for granted, a move he said has led to its declining popularity. Dr. Matiang'i further alleged that the administration is fostering criminality by allegedly harboring known offenders within the country, remarks that are likely to heighten political tensions. The leaders under the banner of the United Opposition vowed to usher in a new administration that they say will prioritize listening to citizens' concerns and acting in their best interests.
Some of us tunatarajia tutakufa wakati wowote. I can tell you that. What we are doing is si kazi ya rais hivyo. But we know kuna nchi ambayo lazima itetewe, na hiyo nchi inaitwa Kenya. Na hii Kenya lazima tutaibadilisha, tuache zile tabia zetu mbaya. Zile tabia mbaya ndizo Ruto amebeba. Wizi, kuua watu, kuchukua mashamba ya watu. I believe, even though I don't have the evidence, Ngeno has been killed because he refused to sign the land which has got rare minerals kule Kilgoris.
Mimi namuuliza Ruto, kabla ya kutengeneza hiyo matope ya kwangu, huyu Rigiji alikusaidia sana. Na ulikuja hapa 2.5 years, now more than 3 years, ukaahidi. Ili watu wale wanasema wakuamini kwamba you mean what you say. Kama you launched barabara hapa na kusema because the clip was very clear kwamba within 1.5 years atakuja kulaunch hii barabara. Hata kama uko na shida na Rigiji, je, watu wa Shamata hawa kina mama hawa na wazazi uko na shida gani nao? Na more importantly, kiongozi wa nchi hapaswi kuwa ni mtu ambaye anaongea urongo mtupu kila kuchao.
So it's our responsibility as the opposition or the alternative government or government in waiting to point out that there are several Kenyans, parents, relatives and friends who are very anxious that bombs are raining in within the Middle East region, and we are not hearing anything from our government.
President William Ruto on Sunday joined the fraternity of Alliance High School to mark its 100th anniversary, announcing a 550 million government investment to upgrade infrastructure and safeguard the institution's legacy of academic excellence. The president said 60 million will fund the construction of 40 classrooms, while 200 million has been set aside to improve roads around the school. The Ministry of Sports will also build a 60 million sports academy at the institution. Earlier, President Ruto handed over 640-bed dormitory worth 155 million and a dining hall costing it 8 million, both funded by the government. At Alliance Girls High School, he pledged 155 million for a 640-bed dormitory, 40 million for 24 classrooms, and 100 million to complete a science complex.
Looking at the alumni of this school and just the sample of example that is here, Kenyans from across the Republic over generations have been admitted to this school. Amos Wako, I see Amos Wako here, our AG Emeritus, all the way from Busia. I see Judge of Supreme Court, the Honorable Enaola, all the way from Samburu. The Honorable Amason Kingi, all the way from Magarini. I see Ekwe Turo here, all the way from Turkana. That is the DNA of a great institution called the Alliance. I proudly stand here today to say that we have done our small bit in making sure that the history of this institution, the legacy of this great school continues, which we have built at the cost of 88 million. Again, I have seen the road network. We still have some work to do. I did ask the Ministry of Roads to set aside 200 million. Already 100 million has been spent. We are going to spend another 100 million to make sure that roads both in the Alliance Girls and Alliance Boys and Alliance High School are completed. I have discussed with the board chair and the principal of this school. There is a requirement for additional classrooms. Initially, they had requested.
Rise of President William Ruto under the Jamii Mara Mashinani JIM initiative have accused the opposition of spreading misinformation aimed at discrediting government development projects. Speaking at a press conference upon arrival in Isiolo County for a two-day citizen engagement forum, the JIM leadership said false narratives were being peddled to undermine progress made by the government. The initiative brings together cabinet secretaries, principal secretaries, departmental directors, CEOs of parastatals and heads of state agencies to directly engage with the citizens. The officials said the forums provide residents an opportunity to ask questions across sectors and receive immediate responses from relevant government representatives, helping bridge what they described as a growing misinformation gap. And Public Health and Professional Standards Principal Secretary Mary Modoni, who is leading the Isiolo delegation, raised concerns over rising cases of drug and substance abuse in Isiolo, warning that continued misuse without moderation is contributing to increasing cancer cases nationwide. She further noted that substance abuse has led to declining hygiene standards among some affected youth.
Wana maneno ya uongo. Watu wengi, especially wapinzani ambao hawako katika serikali, wakati serikali inafanya kazi, wanaeneza uongo, na wakati wanaeneza uongo inaonekana kana kwamba hakuna kinachoendelea, lakini kwa uhakika na kwa ukweli kinaendelea. Sijui kama juzi walisema kama barabara ya Modogasha haiwezekani. Ama Modogasha iko wapi? Kotulo iko wapi? Iko wapi? Inaendelea. Lakini walisema iwezekani. Sisi kama wafanyikazi wa serikali tumekuja kueleza kinagaubaga yale ambayo yanaendelea kwa ukweli na kwa uhakika. Tuongee hapa Isiolo mkiwa ukweli, mkisimama mkiongea ukweli. Mshaikuwa na PS ati amekuja hapa mashinani kuuliza maswali. Si ni mara ya kwanza? Haijai kuwa. Kwa hivyo wakati tumekuja hapa, tunakuja kuelewana, tushirikiane, wakati tunajadiliana ndio tuweze kuelewa vile serikali inafanya kazi. Na watu wa Isiolo ni watu wa nguvu, haswa jana mliweza kudhibitisha ya kwamba mnaelewa vile serikali inafanya kazi na mkachagua viongozi ama kiongozi ambaye ni kiongozi wa chama tawala, chama cha serikali. Na wakati watu wengine wanasema ya kwamba haiwezekani, sisi kama watu ambao wanafanya communications katika shirika la utangazaji tunatangaza maneno yanavyofanyika. Tumesema tunafanya kazi katika serikali. Wananchi wa Isiolo wamekubali serikali inafanya kazi wakati ambao ni tatanishi, na wakachagua kiongozi katika chama tawala cha serikali. Kwa hivyo hata siku ya leo na hata siku ya kesho tutatangaza vile serikali ya William inafanya, ndio hata uchaguzi ukija wa 2027 nyinyi watu wa hapa Isiolo mtaendelea kufanya kazi na chama tawala.
Tumekuja pia na vice chair wanakada mambo ya madawa ya kulevya, kwa sababu hapa Isiolo kidogo tuko chini. Hapa Isiolo iko maneno. Watu wanavuta sana. Unakuta wanaume wameenda base, hawarudi nyumbani bwana. Wanakaa siku 3. Mwanaume hajaoga, ako na mtoto, ako na mama, lakini hajapatikana kwa sababu alikula ile dawa.
Remember, you're watching Morning Live, and that story gives us a very short commercial break. We're coming back with the newspaper review. Stick around. Good morning once again. You're watching Morning Live. My name is Jeffrey Kimayo Somba, and we're moving from the news update now to the newspaper review. I've got the Standard newspaper, the Kenya's Board newspaper, then the Daily Nation. We shall be going through every part and every story of it in a very short time. And the top story on the Standard newspaper, against the green, it's all about the MPO divide, Ruto, and this is John and Ngeno, and it's all about the against the green in a region known for voting as one and following the man at the top. Emurua Dikir MP Joanna Ngeno stood apart a divide President William Ruto's dominance over Great Rift politics and won, driven by the struggles of his people, fiercely independent and unafraid to speak his mind. Ngeno often clashed with the region's political kingpin, not for personal gain but in defense for his constituents. His sudden death is a blow to the region will not quickly recover from, and this is a story you can read from page 8 and 9 of the same. And the below story on the top page of the Daily Nation, it's all about what is taking place between Iran, Israel and USA. And Ayatollah killing Trump opens a can of worms on the world when it's all about disaster knocking when an anger on Iranian state television broke down in tears on live TV while announcing the death of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The world saw a rare moment of raw emotion from Tehran's tightly controlled media, sobbing delivery as she pronounced the long-term leader martyred amid a massive US-Israeli military offensive, signaled the shock shaking the Islamic Republic and foreshadowed the painful global repercussions rippling from the Middle East. And this is a story you can read from page 4, 5, and 6 and 7 of the Standard newspaper. Now, on page 2 of the Standard newspaper, artists in limbo as Nakuru's main theatre remains shut a year later, and Players Theatre gained popularity in 2019 after staging Sarafina. Being the only theatre within the county, helpless talents have been forced to work in isolation, and maybe it's shown or it's pictured on page 2 of the Standard newspaper. You can read that story from the same page. Then content creator focuses antics on mental health, and this is Elvis Mushila turned his platform into a tool for raising awareness about mental illness in the society. Elvis Mushila has over 4.6 million followers on TikTok and over 1.2 million on Facebook. His videos are watched by people aged from 2 to 80 years across Africa. And in October 2021, Elvis Mushila, the then 18, clashed his mother's wedding gown and father's black coat, dressed up and took to the streets of Nakuru city on an unknown mission. Mushila, passionate about creating content and stained the white gown, covered his face with a black mask, grabbed 2 stones and started to scare residents within the streets, all the while being recorded. Having been inspired by some of the films he had watched as a teenager, he believed that by dressing up as a crazy person, his video would go viral. And now he's changed the tune. He's twisted this into making sure that he relieves people with mental illnesses and to stabilize their mental health as they watch his videos. And it's a message that will be sending to different people, maybe to make sure that they recuperate or even they recover from the situation that they are in. Then page 3 of 4, it's all about the Supreme Leader Khamenei killed in US strike, Iran state media says, and this is a story that took place on Saturday. Yes. Then page 5, exit Ayatollah, re-enter Pahlavi dynasty, and Reza Pahlavi, an exiled crown prince of Iran, lives in the United States. Therefore, the forbearance of Iran lies in its legacy as one of the old civilizations in the Middle East. A story you can read from page 5. And then US attacks, this is page 6. Iran's retaliation threatens Kenya's economy and security. The shockwaves are arriving with economic and security implications. Oil prices have already spiked as the strikes disrupted Gulf shipping routes, and this is only 3 days old, so we're waiting to see the ripple effects of the same, and we hope peace will be found from the three. And this is all about the war in Middle East. Then from page 7, Kenyans are caught in the crossfire of US-Iran war. Then migrant workers and their families back home are facing uncertainty over their safety. Mudavadi has urged Kenyans to remain vigilant and to register with embassies. And that's a very key story, or they need to take the very serious action, maybe trying to inform the Kenyan people living in these affected regions of the world. Then page 8, Ngeno, bold, unapologetic and a resolute leader who defied norms. And they said that's a story you'll be reading from page 8 and 9 of the Standard newspaper. Duale on the spot again for loss of 11 billion SHA funds. And I said scandals after scandals, then 100 billion more needed for funding basic education. I remember this is happening once again after a lot of money has been pumped in for the maybe transition, but we're not seeing that coming into action. Then we can also see opposition leaders restate promises to back one candidate against Ruto. The story you can read from page 11. Then we're looking at the caricature on the Standard newspaper. I will be back and backing, so court appeal, and to be looking at the caricature on page 12 of the Standard newspaper. Then US-Israeli attack on Iran risk plunging the world into turmoil. We're watching and to see what will be happening. That's a story you can be reading from page 12 of the Standard newspaper. Then you can grab a copy of the same for more information. Then shifting quickly to the Daily Nation. It's all about tragedy. And the lawmaker joins high-profile individuals, including military chief killed in plane crashes. Then MP Ngeno secret tapes that fixed Gachagua. The Emurua Dikirr MP Joanna Ngeno is among 6 people killed in a helicopter crash on Saturday at Chepkian village in Mosop, Nandi County. The helicopter went down minutes after the takeoff and burst into flames in a hilly area. Authorities have opened investigations into the tragedy. Then the die was cast for the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua after leaked conversations in 2024 with Joanna Ngeno. Then preliminary investigations into crash that killed Emurua Dikirr. A show helicopter was flying in low altitude. Then opposition leaders demand an independent probe into the lawmaker's death in crash and how a 5-minute delay saved county official from boarding ill-fated chopper. Let's see full coverage of this on page 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Daily Nation. But before we move from the top story, from the top page of the Daily Nation, Iran end of an era. Then the government has asked Kenyan governments in the the government has asked Kenyans in the Middle East to be vigilant and contact the Kenyan embassies if in distress amid the escalation of joint US-Israeli strikes on Iran, which have killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Hussein Khamenei. Page 16, you can see that story. But now, okay, I'm still concerned with this. It's all about calling the Kenyan embassy if they are in distress. What is the right action that the Kenyan embassy need to take action, or even to, like the CS for Interior, for Foreign Affairs? This is Musalia Mudavadi. What action is he supposed to take to make sure maybe there is the right action to be put in place and into consideration, not the issue of maybe trying to call the embassy if they are in distress? I think that's not a point to help those people affected in the attack along that region. Now page 2 is a plot to impeach Gachagua gathers strong momentum after recording was passed on to the president and Ngeno's secret tapes that sealed Gachagua's fate. And that's a story you can read from page 2 of the Daily Nation. Then our 5-minute delay saved my life. That's a story of Geoffrey Betts, missed a ride in the helicopter that was carrying MP Joanna Ngeno and others by 5 minutes. A story, so interesting story. You can actually read it from page 3 of the Daily Nation. Then the problem with South Sudan, it's all about East Africa in your paper this week. You can read it from page 3, the lower part of the same. And then our ops are shattered, family of journalist says after chopper crash. And burying photo journalist Nick Kosgei died with his spouse, Emuradi MP Joanna Ngeno, and 4 others. Then investigators begin search for truth behind each helicopter crash. And that's a story from page 5. Then moving on, it's all about the 3,200 schools to get solar power in 45 billion state plan. And maybe if this is a plan to be piloted, maybe it has to be done quickly to make sure maybe the issues of learning in school is pushed as quickly as possible. Then 20 senior schools that 100,000 grade 10 students sought to join. A story you can read from page 7. Then junior secondary teachers, primary aides clash over autonomy, and they have to be dependent, and maybe that is why you're looking at the clashes that are taking over the junior secondary teachers and primary aides. It's all about the autonomy, being alone or even being independent in making their decisions. And we're looking at maybe the ripple effect of the same, and maybe what are the disadvantages of them being independent, and maybe the disadvantage of them being out of the same. And page 8 of the Daily Nation, net loss, how tax changes have rank workers take on pay. And there's a story you have to read from page 8 because it's affecting each and every person who is under pay slip. Then Kenya needs industries, not more sports infrastructure. Yes, and build a water system that leaves no one behind. That is page 10. Then page 12, letter of the day, early campaigns costing Kenyans dearly. And we've been looking at what happens from our leaders every time they have campaigns. They start these campaigns very early. You just post them into political positions, and then within a very few weeks or months after inception, you find them back on the fields trying to do politics and campaigns again. When are you supposed to break for your active politics or even for your active campaigns, so that you at least get to tell people or even to confirm to people what you've been doing to them once you are put into that position? But immediately you are in the office, you find yourself campaigning while you're doing many more developments to the people who voted you in. Now page 13, CS Joel backs Shabal for governor seat in 2027 poll. Then I think page 15, women rep loses bid to silence Gachagua. Then we are moving to the international side, where the extraordinary moment Iran has been preparing for, and Iran's supreme leader Khamenei, who had instructed top clerics to be ready for every eventuality, last year was killed in US-Israeli strike. And this is a defining moment for the Islamic Republic of Iran. There had been a swell of reports about the fate of the supreme leader ever since Saturday morning, when it was clear that his residence had been targeted in the first wave of strikes. And that's a story you can read from page 16. Then the last story from page 17, CMA net digital advisors amid youth fueled boom. Then war followed grounds flights leaves daycare travelers stranded. And I think we're ending there, because after this we shall be having a very great interview about the term limits, executive power and international accountability. And in a short moment, that is what we shall be plunging ourselves into. Thank you for watching the news bulletins. Thank you for watching the newspaper review. This is Morning Life. My name is Jeffrey Kimayu Somba. Stick around, don't go too far, because in a few minutes we shall be coming back with the executive and exclusive interview only on EBN TV. Good morning once again. This is Morning Live, and this is the time. I had promised to start off a very key interview that you have to understand more as far as our politics are concerned. Now, my name is Jeffrey Somba, and this is the second day of March 2026. Now, we've been getting stories from politicians about the issue of term limits. You've been getting the issue of term limits in the matter of, or in the context of 2 terms, the issue of 1 term, the issue of 2 term, the issue of maybe term limits being extended to maybe 7 years. If you become a president, you have to go maybe for 7 years. And this is from one legislator that I don't want to mention on air. And we're here to understand the issue of international law, the issue of international accountability, the issue of power, and maybe what will take a person to become a good politician and a good in performance, good in delivering developments, and good in making promises, then making sure that the promises are fulfilled. And now, because this is EBN TV, and this is where we're starting off, and with me, I've got a guest, but one has not yet arrived. He'll be getting in as we proceed with the interview. I've got on board, she's a lawyer, Wakio Farida, and she'll be helping us digest or even understand more of this topic that we just laid before you. And you can follow this program through our social media platforms, that is EBN TV Kenya La Cruz, and our SMS line is 23059. If you've got any comment, any suggestion, and maybe a question to the guest or a question to us, you can be channeling it, your question, to the social media platforms I've just said and to you. So welcome so much, Wakio, to EBN TV.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're most welcome. Now, I want you to feel so easy here on EBN TV, because we shall be diving more on the current issues that we feel they're affecting this country. And for the start, I want you to say hi to some people, maybe greetings, and maybe a bit of knowing who you are.
Thank you very much. Allow me to send my greetings to the residents of Gishugo constituency in Kirinyaga County, where Wakili Wakio myself is going to be going for the parliamentary seat for Gishugo constituency. Also allow me to say hi to other young people, especially the young aspirants that are going for seats, and let me let you know that it is time for a generational conspiracy, and it is time for us to arise and take up these positions, because it is our time. As a matter of introduction, as you said, my name is Farida Wakio Kamau. A lawyer by profession, a young lawyer by profession, a politician, a constitutional lawyer who is working towards specializing in the electoral process in Kenya, because I feel there's a gap. As well as I've been very vocal in terms of defending the constitution, constitutionality, and human rights, and electoral rights. So maybe that is one of the reasons why you have me on the show today, because I have been very vocal. I believe that if we defend the Constitution is going to defend us.
Yeah, sure.
If we respect the Constitution is going to respect us. Yes.
Well, that's very true, and that's a very good intro there from our guest this morning. Now, we've had a lot of issues, and as she said, we've rights of the voter and again the politician, what they are supposed to do and what they are not supposed to do, then what you're supposed to do as a voter. And I think as we proceed, we shall be knowing all this, understanding them better. But we have to start from a different angle altogether, and because we have to move on with what is moving on and what is current within ourselves and maybe within our surroundings and environment. Now, Wakio, we're looking at the top page of the Daily Nation and the Standard newspaper, whereby this is Ngeno, is the MP, Emur Dikir, sorry, and sometimes there is a way you don't have to be sycophantic, or even there is a way you don't have to sing the song of another person or even to dance to their tunes. Yeah. And now the Daily Nation is putting it very clearly that this is a defiant MP, invite Ruto, and maybe this to mean that he did this to make sure that maybe he protects his constituents now. And we saw what happened. And this copter that MP Joanna Ngeno used some few days ago, it was used like I think a week ago by CS Interior Murkomen. It had no issues, but today, on Saturday, it developed some issues, and we're looking at the death, and we're looking at the crash that took place, taking the life of 6 people. Then, in line with the same story, retired or even impeached Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, still defending the MP of their friendship, and maybe how we trying to protect him and how we try to inform him of the plot to impeach him. Now, what do you take of the same happening and most of the crash?
Allow me start with passing my message of condolence to the family that lost the occupants. I believe there were about 6 people.
Yes, there's 6.
Yeah, so the journalist and the politician, it's rather unfortunate, and of course the pilot, the co-pilot, it's rather unfortunate when we lose people. It doesn't matter which side of the political divide any person is on. I mean, exercising your democratic right should not be in any way a reason for costing you your life, and I'm not alluding to anything because we know that investigations are ongoing on the condition of the aircraft. It has happened in the past. If you remember, key politicians such as the late Honorable Saitoti, he also perished in a plane crash. And there was a lot of speculation around what could have been the reason for his death. There were around whether it was political mischief. We've not even finished the death of this person who recently died. What was his name? The one who died in a car crash along Naivasha-Nairobi highway. As you remember,
this is
Kajwang.
Kajwang. No, there is another guy. Why do I forget him?
Yes, as you remember him.
Yes.
So we are living in a very volatile time, especially politically, where
it's Jirongo.
Yes, it's Jirongo. Thank you very much, and may his soul rest in peace. So we are living in a very sensitive time where if somebody dies, even for natural causes or otherwise, you can see even the death of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, may his soul rest in peace. It was also very heavily questioned, and everybody was trying to allude to the possibility of him not dying based on the medical report, as though there were other reasons that led to his death. So it's a very sensitive time in our democracy as a nation, and I would want to ask and urge all leaders, especially those that have opportunities such as the one that I have today, to speak on these matters, to also be very wise and very sensitive, to avoid unnecessary incitement against the masses. So at this particular point, the only thing that we can do is trust that those that are involved in the investigations are going to be honest, and that truth in its essence is going to come out of these investigations, because for the purposes of closure, but also I would also I would also want to probably point to something a little bit different. I know we call His Excellency the Deputy President of the People, His Excellency Dr. Rigathi Gachagua, the truthful man. And at times, a lot of what he says tends to hold some weight, sort of. Even though now the disadvantage that we have is we don't get to verify the information that he's giving us at this point, but I know it counts for something. And it is time for us, really, especially those of us in the political spaces, to exercise caution. We're not going to liberate this nation if we are dead. We need to also create that sensitive balance. But also, some things, it's just like being in the army. the moment you've enrolled as a soldier and you've decided to go to war, at times death is inevitable. It is rather unfortunate, but let us face it. There's those of us that are on the front lines of this battle to liberate this nation and to ensure that our democracy is protected. And out of that, and I'm not saying that this is the situation that happened, because if this is a situation that happened, it is rather unfortunate. But in the event that that is what happened, let us move on as a nation and mourn them and honor them, give them the honor that is due to them, and move on. But really the back lies with those that are investigating. We all deserve to know the truth. He was an MP that is very celebrated. You've seen the clips that are making rounds of him even standing head to toe with armed police officers and saying, why are you killing these people? And such politicians are very rare in our time, especially when we're experiencing a breed of very selfish and self-centered politicians that are forgotten, especially let me address those in parliament, that the only business that they have in the House, whether in the Senate, whether in the National Assembly, is to defend the Constitution and defend the mandate that has been handed to them by the Constitution. It is not their power, it is not their government, it is a government by the people and for the people. So they are failing us. They are not representing the interest of the people. It's almost as though they are going there for their own interest. So when we lose an MP that had the heart of the people at heart, it really hurts. We've lost a soldier. We have lost a soldier. Whatever the circumstances of his death, the truth is we have lost a soldier. And now, constitutionally, we've been looking at issues that maybe take place in this country that maybe we are not interested in. Maybe sometimes we suspect maybe an awful intention, maybe to make someone out of this life because maybe they've been defiant or even they've been having the ability to develop or even to deliver as they promised their voters. Now, what does the Constitution say about if maybe like the case of this MP who fell on the crash some few days ago? How long should the process of investigation take place? Okay, the process of investigation takes as long as it needs to, especially given the circumstances. This is why you hear we even have task forces and I don't know much about planes, so allow me not to comment on the technicality of such a matter. But I would say that process should take as long as it needs for truth to come. But this can only happen if we have basic goodwill from the various agencies that are involved. Let it not be that just because a particular Kenyan was of a particular political inclination or political ideology, then the investigation of their death becomes as though it's a non-factor. You know, I would want to see the government taking it with the seriousness that it deserves. Let us not politicize this process. Let us not use this process. Because I'm even speaking in Kiswahili.
It's okay, it's allowed.
Behind this MP Ngeno, we have his constituents who I'm sure they are feeling the pain of the loss of their member of parliament, and we have his family. And these two groups of people deserve to know the truth. The people of Kenya deserve to know the truth on what really happened. So let the investigation take as long as necessary until we get to the bottom of it.
Okay, the reason as to why I had posted that question to you is because we are so suspicious of, or even a bigger team of Kenyans were so suspicious of what happened to former Prime Minister, came all the way to Cyrus Jirongo. Then we are now fresh on this, and maybe this has been taking place for a very long time. When you become so vocal, when you become so audible, when you become so active in maybe developing your word, developing your constituency, developing, or even when you become so active in the position that you're given as a leader, maybe you're out of, you scrapped off. And my question is, why, if you become active, why do you have to be taken out of the team that you're working with? And I'm posting this to you because you are aspiring MP. Yes.
I think there's some issues that are as a result of the progressive realization of our democratic rights. And the reason why I'm saying that is because remember with the coming to place of the 2010 constitution, one of the things that we lost is the position of the official opposition leader, which was almost perpetually held by the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, and he was doing a good job because let's go back to the fundamentals of the position of a member of parliament, since your question was specific to that regard. A member of parliament is supposed to perform the major roles of representation, legislation, oversight, and maybe the roles that come because of the NGCDF in regards to development. So in this particular case, I would like to think that any MP that has fallen out of alignment with the regime of the day is rightly so playing his role of oversighting. And in this case, you're playing oversight over the executive, or even say the presidency. So which is a democratic right, that like you're entitled to that right. But what happens in this nation when we're doing our elections? We do this culture of suiting up your leaders, where you decide. For example, I come from in central Kenya. You can tell the party that is very euphoric as we speak. Or let me speak to the 2022 election, where the euphoria was created by the UDA party. So you find that most of the people that were elected into parliament, especially in particular regions, were all from the same party. And out of that, we have the president, and then we have the legislators that have been elected in his party. And almost as it goes unwritten that they have to sing the song of the executive. So we have clientism and we have tokenism. So in the members within the parliament, we have those members of parliament that are benefiting from singing the praises of the president. Whether, regardless of the fact that to some extent, singing the praises of the executive means that you're neglecting your own mandate to the constituents. So it gets to a place where it begs the question, like, where should the allegiance of the MP fall to? Should the allegiance of a member of parliament be to his constituents, or to the president of the day, or to the regime of the day? Because it's almost as though you cannot do both. Of course, there are some regions, and arguably so, that they've been saying that the reason why they've been experiencing a lot of development is because they're in alignment with the government of the day. But that's not how it should be, because we have a social contract with the government. And that social contract, whether I am singing the one-tongue narrative or the two-tongue narrative, I hope you saw what I did there, because we've been told we're not supposed to say that word. Shouldn't address the president like that, but respectively. So I mean, we have
that's
those
maybe
divides.
addressing physically, but now you're there. That's a different case.
So, so we have that conflict. Almost as though if you don't sing the praises of the regime of the day, your people don't get development. If you don't sing the praises of the regime of the day, then it could even cost you your life. It's very unfortunate. It is very unfortunate.
It is very. Now, what are the rights of a voter? Maybe you are in opposition and you are in the government. What is the position?
The rights of
as far as developments are concerned, maybe trickling all the way to the smallest part of this country.
Every voter is entitled to development. It doesn't matter which side of the divide you're at. And the constitution is very clear. And as a matter of fact, this is what led to the devolution. Devolution was supposed to work in such a way that there's equitable distribution of resources, and it goes all the way down, and there's increased representation because we exercise our democracy way of having representatives in the county government, in the National Assembly, in the Senate. So that's why I call this a social contract. In the doctrine of social contract, in a social contract, think about a contract in the typical way, where say you've come to me because you want certain services from me, and because you want certain services from me, there are certain things that you have to part with. So in our situation, we want put a government in place. We are the employers, and I think this whole Mheshimiwa thing, it's an error, because I don't understand how you're paying me using your own money. It's like, think of the house help you have in your own house. You pay them, you've given them tasks, you've allowed them to run the house on your behalf. How is it that that house help becomes the one that is honorable over you? You know?
Yeah, that's very
It's
wrong.
an error. It is an error, and it's an error that we've created for ourselves as a nation that we need to correct in these coming elections. So, because what happens is, in terms of development, because of the cultures that we've put in place, even in our electoral process, the first culture is the one for voter bribery. In our language, we call it kuchoma.
Yes.
Direct translation from Kikuyu. You ban people. Almost as though if I'm looking for your vote, and I come ask for your vote, instead of us getting into an agreement or an arrangement where you're going to hold me accountable, it's almost as though tunamalizana from the very onset. I give you what I'm giving you. I bring you unga, I bring you the beans, I give you 1,000 shillings, you give me your vote. I get into that seat, you have no business questioning what I do.
So this is to mean maybe once you get maybe your 5,000, that has to take you for the whole term, 5 years.
We are selling our birthright. You know, think like a business person, the law of return on investment. And that is why you see our campaign financing is one of the most, actually this election they're predicting that is going to be one of the most expensive elections in the history of this nation. Reason being, we've created that culture. It happened in Bere North by election. Where I was personally, it's not hearsay, I was an agent at a polling station in Kanyombora, Gatata polling station, and I experienced firsthand where voters were being ferried. You're taken in, especially the so-called assisted voters. You're taken in. Of course, assisted voters are supervised by extension, because you come in with somebody who's claiming to assist you. And you get to the voting booth, that person is there with you. So you'd hear this assisted voter saying, "Mi najua tu fulani." Like it was so particular for them to say, "I only know a particular candidate." Almost as though it was a prerequisite for them to say that. So you find, we sell our birthright as a nation. Let's have these hard discussions. Munamalizana with your leaders at the very beginning of the electoral process. So when this person gets into office, they have no business serving your interest. They have no business doing anything for you, because you already literally sold their vote to them. Kama umeuziwa nyumba, you don't need to pay rent. House, you can do with it whatever you want to do with it.
What is the cost of your vote?
Very good question. Actually, a very good question, because you try to reason. And you know, this culture, it has robbed us as a nation of the right leaders. Because if you're telling me that for me to go for the seat that I'm going for, Member of Parliament for Gishogo, I need at least 70 million. And not 70 million to do merchandise, not 70 million to traverse the constituency. It is 70 million to give to my voter. Think about life as it is. For you to be able to even get that kind of money in your lifetime, unless you're doing extra things, it is not realistic. That's why we see we keep recycling the same breed of leaders, because those are the ones that can afford. And also the shamelessness that you need. You find that, and it's something that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, I'm quoting him a lot in today's interview, he alluded to, a day that he came to Gema Watho, that platform for lawyers. I remember he was pleading with us lawyers to vie on his party position. And I remember he said specifically, he would want for us to take at least 40 of the seats that he's hoping to garner in the coming 2027 election by the DCP ticket. But you see, professions such as myself, when you think about the system, that I would say it has already been rigged, you might shy away from even wanting to engage in politics. They say it's dirty politics, and it doesn't have to really be dirty, because I would like to think all I need to do as somebody that wants to be elected is come to my people in Gishugo constituency, sell my manifesto, get to know them, get to know their needs, and we get into a social contract that if you give me this opportunity to serve you, if you give me this opportunity to work for you, this is what I'm going to deliver. And then we also even have the opportunity of recalling back our members of parliament. If you have a member of parliament that is not working for you, if you have a member of parliament that is not fulfilling the mandate that has been given to them by the constitution, you have the option of recalling them. But you've never seen this happen. There has been attempts, even where I've seen it's been very, it's been almost done, is in the seat of the governor. And it's not being done because the constituents are the ones that is exercising their democratic right to recall back their members. It's because their representative, the members of the county assembly, are doing it for them. And if you pay attention of those that have been attempted to be impeached, think about people like Martin Wambora and Kawira Mwangaza, and Waitito when he was in office. It's always for political reasons. It's really not because these people are not serving the mandates that they've been given by the constitution. So we're at a time as a democracy where we need to go back to exalting the constitution higher than we are exalting the political formations of our nation. Yes.
Okay, now I was looking at the issue of voter bravery and the process of, because maybe if maybe you're given 5,000 only, and that is something that will take you for the 5-year term in office. This is to mean maybe you have to subdivide the 5,000 into every day, into every minute that you're living in. Now this issue of, I'm looking at a place where you have to verify that maybe Wakio has voted for politician X, maybe to be an MP. So how do you verify that? Because I have to give you your 5,000. How do I confirm that maybe you voted for me?
It's a risky affair, but if you think about the mindset of Kenyans, even you, the moment I give you 5,000 and you promise me your vote, it is secret ballot, really. I shouldn't be able to know who you voted for, even if I'm the one giving you that money. Because I remember the IBC has very clear rules. On the election booth, you're alone, nobody should stand over you, not even the agents. If you're an assisted voter, you're supposed to verbalize the person, your candidate, like you should say it out loud in the event that you're able to speak. But these things are beautiful on paper, but the Kenyan voter, we fear things like witchcraft. We fear repercussions. So you feel like, kama umekula pesa ya mse, the least you can do is give you. Actually, they say, heri huyu. And then also, it's about our historical interactions with politicians. Unaona, it's better for you to give this person that has at least given you something than to give this other person that appears to be giving empty promises, quote unquote, who might end up not delivering. So uko like, wacha nitoke na ile kitu yenye naona. But it's an era in itself that I'm really hoping is going to change. And personally, in my own personal capacity, I have done with a few youth from Kirinyaga County, we've come up with a program. We're calling it Tubonge Kirinyaga. These are civic engagements, not civic education. And the reason why it's not civic education is we didn't want to be in a situation where we are the ones telling Wanjiko. We wanted us to have a level reasoning ground where you tell us, this is how things are, and this is why these things are the way they are. And we try to see if we can forge a way forward, and we try and see if we can come up with a solution, and we try we try and see if this is a culture that we want to change. Because as much as we're here criticizing the history and the situation of things as they are, at times you also have to remind and ask ourselves, where did these things start? And from my little investigations, I think this started post-independence, where we had this breed of leaders that, because of their various roles they played in the fight for independence, and of course, their alignment to the person that took the government of the day, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, they were rewarded with positions. And in order for them to keep these positions, they needed to secure power. And some of the tactics that they resulted to was voter bribery, because they were coming from a place of insecurity. Think about the situation of fighting for independence. Somehow you'd understand why these leaders were so insecure. So we question this culture because these things that we're experiencing are systemic issues, and if we do not address these systemic issues, we will always end up at the same point. We will sing the one term, even if we elected an angel, even if we elected the best president. For me, the best choice would be Her Excellency Mother Karua, because she's one person that has been very consistent, and she's one person that she says what she means and she means what she says, and in the very least she doesn't have blood on her hands out of all the principles. So even if we were to elect such a formidable president, one that we would be proud of as a nation, if these systems are still in place, it will still be a very fast stretch. So if we want any change in this nation, and this is what I'm telling my millennial and Gen Z have friends, and all of those of us that are in the political space. And another factor is the old guards, quote unquote. Tuko na people in the political spaces that are in their 70s, they're in their 80s, they're in their 60s, and they're still fighting for these positions. They're in their 50s. In my opinion, in your 50s, you have no business going for political offices. Please, just retire. Allow us that are meant to be in this nation for longer, if God and science remains as it is, to fight for the future of this nation. Because you're coming, you're recycling the mindset. Because it's not even about age, it's about the mindset that those people of that age gap have continued to exhibit. So, if you bring somebody who believes the only way to be elected is by banning people, what change are we going to get? If you bring in somebody who believes that the only way to prove a point is by insulting your opponent, because it's unfortunate. Really.
It is, and I think that's a very key thing. I'll be coming to you to ask more on this because I've been looking at the issue of Cameroon all the way to Uganda to Tanzania, and maybe in our country too, and maybe other African countries where you find once you taste the soup, the spoon has to remain in your mouth all through and for the longest time possible. This is Morning Life. We're taking a very short commercial break. We're coming back in a moment. Farida Wakio, she's helping us to understand or even to digest some of the materials that we feel we may not understand politically. Now, we were to a point maybe where we are talking of term limits, where we're talking of the greed and the lust in politics. Once you taste the soup, once you taste maybe what you have to taste in politics and the cake that you taste in politics, you feel it's like you're glued on the same seat, and you don't have to think whether there is another able person with a vision, with the development agenda for a country, or even the age that you're at. You don't have to think whether there is another person who is more energetic than you, or the mind is more vibrant than you. You just have to stick there for the longest time possible. Now, Wakio, that is where we left at about mentioned the issue of us or our leaders in Africa. Maybe another great leader and come politician maybe want to stay there for the longest time possible. And my biggest question is that do you have to think you are the person with the ability, you are the person with the vision, you are the person with the cognitive ability to be in a position maybe for 10 years or even more? And that's why I'm looking at the issue of the prolonging the presidential term limits into a 7-year term. And when you are there, and this is to mean if you go round in 2 terms, this is to mean that you have to be there for 14 years. We have young people maybe who have the goodwill to propel this country into a better place politically. Why do you think we have to stay this long? And I give you 2 minutes for that, so that because I have actually, because you're an aspirant, a lot of things are rolling around you, so that will be very swift. And maybe a question that also comes into you, why do they have to stay long? And if maybe you are elected, will you have to stay that long? And maybe you've seen people complain, you've seen people lament of how you're not developing, how you're not delivering. Will you still stick around?
That's a very interesting question. It has been a discussion. I don't think there's a regime that has not experienced an attempt of an extension in the term limit since the coming in of the 2010 Constitution. But it is not very easy to pass an agenda such as extension of a term limit, especially in our current democracy, because maybe to just take you through the constitutional process, the extension of a term limit is one of the fundamental things, or what would call the substantive issues within our constitution, and that is not something you just wake up and decide to change, because it would require a constitutional process which should lead up to a referendum. It starts with the approval of 2/3 majority in the National Assembly, and then also the majority of the citizens have to be in agreement for such a constitutional amendment to be made. And I think this is what has been protecting us as a nation, and that is why I started by saying if we protect the Constitution is going to protect us, because it is highly unlikely for any ruling party to garner 2/3 majority, and that is why I'm personally very opposed to the suit elections, because the moment that you elect all leaders based on their membership in the popular party, you risk putting them in one basket, even politically, that even when it comes to making decisions in parliament, they easily would pass an agenda in one basket. I know if you remember the controversial BBI, it almost passed. Like, however we want to look at it, it almost passed. It was very unconstitutional if it were not for the intervention of the courts. And that is why I think right now we have only one arm of government. The legislation, the executive, in my opinion, they've already commigrated to one. It's only the judiciary that is experiencing a level of independence, and even if people are saying it's already interfered with, but oh well, we leave that. I respect the courts because I'm an officer of the court. So when it comes to term limit, I think most of these politicians, the reason why they want an extension of the term limit, it has nothing much to do with the amassation of wealth, because how much we earn and the benefits from just occupying a position of power, it gives you money in its billions. So you're not seeking a re-election because you want to make money. I also don't think it's because you want power, because in Kenya, as long as you have money, you're already very powerful. What I think happens is because of the things that these people do when they're elected. For example, you've had people saying that if the current president is no longer the president, that they would require that they prosecute him all the way up to the Court of International, ICJ. Because of the things that he did while he's in office. Fikiria kama mwanadamu. Let's stop being hypocritical. Some of the things that these people have done, it's not in their best interest for them to be out in the cold, if they want to call it. We can experience even our governor in Kirinyaga County, Waiguru. It has been rumored that on top of her completing the 2-term limits that have been given in our constitution as governor, that now she wants to come in and contend for the position of a senator. And you would like to ask yourself, or she was even floating herself for the position of a cabinet secretary, to a point that she was willing to subject the people of Kirinyaga County to a by-election because there was allegedly an opening for a CS position. So when you think about such a person, you ask yourself, is it about money? Is it about wealth? Because I think as it is, with the opportunities that she's had, she remains powerful with or without that position. But you realize it's because of the things that they did during the time when they were occupying these positions of leadership, that they would not want to lose the positions of leadership, because the moment that you do that, you've seen what has happened to people like Waitito. The moment you're out of office, they come for you for political reasons, if you ask me. And now because you have no power to protect you, Mike Mbuvi Sonko, you see what happened to him. So I think that is what makes, especially in the African region, most leaders do not want to lose their positions because of the things they did while they were in office. They are afraid. The illegal wealth they have amassed. You've seen even state lodges have been grabbed. You can imagine somebody having the guts of grabbing land that is meant for a state lodge. What guts? Public land has been grabbed. So this kind of corruption and this kind of impunity that these people do while they're in office is what makes them not want to depart from their positions. I don't think it's about the position, and I don't think it's about power. I don't think it's about influence. Okay, it's about power to the extent that they want to use it to protect the things they did while they were in office. Yes.
Okay, that's a good one. And But is the issue I talked about, you have to get development if you're just in the government. If you're in the opposition, there's nothing that you'll be getting. And I want to quote something from an MP somewhere who said, and actually he's a battled MP, I don't want to mention his name. He said, I have to be in the government so that I bring developments into you. What do you think I will do if I'm not in the government? Where do you think developments will come from? So there are statements from an MP to his people. Now, what do you make of such statements, and now you're aspiring to be an MP?
It's rather unfortunate, but it's how the system is set. People say it's the member of parliament that makes roads, but what I think the citizens do not understand is some of these developments, they require a lot of lobbying. So if I'm the member of parliament for Gishogo, the first thing that I need to do is, let's pick one thing like roads. We have the transport infrastructure. I think it's an infrastructure committee, the one that is currently being headed by GK, the MP Fondia constituency. So most of these projects are approved at the committee stage, and that is why you saw those people that have gone back to supporting the government, such as Mheshimiwa Koimbori, the MP for Juja constituency, and we have Gathoni Somba, the MP for Githongori constituency. The moment they went back in alignment with the government, they were quick. There was a reshuffle, and they were quickly placed in what they called, let me quote what Citizen TV said, lucrative committees within parliament. So you need to have favor with the members of the committee. So if you think that the placement of members of parliament in these committees is based on your allegiance to the regime of the day, if you're coming and you're on the other side of the regime, you can be sure that you might not even make it through the committee stage of this. Then the committee, after the committee, you still need to lobby in various parastatals like Kura and Kera.
Kena,
Kena. No, I don't think, for MP doesn't have Kena roads. It's
Kura and
roads
Kera.
And the other, yes, those two. So it's a lot of lobbying. So that is what works for any member of parliament that is not in alignment with the government. But in my constituency, I'm also not one to mention names, but given this context, our current member of parliament, it's in public knowledge, is Bwana Gishimo. He's a lawyer like myself. The Hansard records were recently released. There's no record of him for the 2 terms he's been in office introducing any law into parliament. There's no record on him making any meaningful contributions on the floor of the house. So on his representation and legislation mandate, he's already failing. And if you fail in representation and legislation, there's no way you're working in your oversight role. So it's not something that cuts across, and he's supporting the divide, and I've seen him saying, allow me stay in government so that I can bring you development. Then you sit and you ask,
what is not done?
The roads. Today there's a video that is making rounds on social media platforms in Gishogo of boda riders in the mud, literally in the mud, of a project that has been a topic of discussion. We call it Musibi Wagesogo, Musibini Belt. So it's a very crucial road that is supposed to traverse the major points and to connect the major points within Gishogo constituency. But this road has not been made for 2 terms now. We've gone for public participation, and if you go for public participation on any project, it means there is a level of resource that has already been released. So you ask yourself, you want to tell me for 10 years this person was not able to lobby for a single development project? Because I'm beginning to think, saying that you're giving bursaries, which is one of the things that I propose should be scrapped off. Giving bursaries should not be the only achievement that you've made as a member of parliament. And the legislation around NGCDF is very grey. It almost looks as though NGCDF becomes a member of parliament's pocket money, almost as though he can do whatever he wants to do with it. And that is why these people are abusing this fund, and they're using it to please their friends. So that position is very ill-informed. It's only a member of parliament that is willing to work for the people, whichever side of the divide. Of course, there are frustrations, especially in Nairobi County. For the member of county assembly, there's even a time when there were positions for employment of teachers within the county government. And one of the member of county assemblies, a very good friend of mine, he told me that every MCA was given a position for 2 teachers, apart from those that are not supporting the regime of the day. So there's a lot of victimization. But with what you get, like, do what you can with what you get. If you're genuine, if you're not able to lobby for, lobby for these investment opportunities for your county, at least let us see you doing these other things that don't need resources. Let us see you pushing laws in parliament. Let us see you speaking about things. Let us see you calling out the government for the things that they are doing against you people. But we have a very interesting country where people know how to practice table manners. As long as I'm a part of your table, there's food on my plate, I am eating, I don't speak. So the moment your member of parliament has been bought to sit at the table in support of the regime, you'll never hear them speaking for you again.
Okay, now, because I'm looking if maybe it's not working well as far as legislation is concerned, and again, the issue of oversight, I think it's not working, and it is in government already. Does this mean that there is a percentage of people who are still looking at making an impact to the state?
Of course, he's back on the race, baby, for his 3rd term, and he's doing pretty well. He has the advantage of resources, so, but I don't think they're going to re-elect them.
Now, what does the advantage of resources mean to the people that will be voting for him? Because maybe if he's not oversighting, he's not legislating, this is to mean maybe he's not protecting those people who put him into power. Then, if he has the power of resources, this is to mean he'll be adding more on the resources that he still have. He already have.
According to the common Wanjiko, at times it's I don't know. That's why, honestly, that is why I'm very keen on doing civic education. Wanjiko, at times, it's almost as though they do not understand what a member of parliament is supposed to do for them. Because I don't see how such a person would even have been re-elected in the first place. But I hear the reason why he was re-elected is because he was able to raise the amount that was required to get the ticket for the seat, for the party that was being euphoric. In Kenya, the moment, sasa kama mimi, like, any politician in my position with resources, it's not even about working for the people. It's about making sure that you have enough money to go and buy the ticket at the end of it. And I hear it's as far as from 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. So it already places those of us that don't have that level of resources at a disadvantage.
We're looking at very young people now aspiring, or they need a political seat, and maybe to change the narrative that has taken too long in this country. And I'm looking at the issue of tokenism. I'm looking at the issue of maybe buying tickets from political parties and those arrangements. Then there is this guy from, is it Meru, Higembe South? This guy who did his politics using a bike. And I'm looking at a place whereby you from a certain region, and maybe in that constituency, many people know you. And maybe because you've been doing your campaigns maybe from social platforms or maybe physically. And now these people know very well, this person comes from this region, the other come from this region. Now, then we are looking at a place whereby if you come in a poor state, if you come campaigning in poor state, if you don't bring us tea, if you don't bring us some money, we're not putting you in the same position. Now, my question is to you, maybe to the voters that and everyone who is watching us. Now, the moment you force me to come to you or doing my campaigns with a lot of money, where do you think as a young person I've gotten the money from? And if I have to navigate, or even I have to maybe create ways to make sure that I get this money you're demanding from me as a very young aspirant, then I come with it. Then maybe it is a loan that I maybe secured from somewhere to do my campaigns. Then and to my advantage, and fortunately I get the position. What do you think I'll do with the loan maybe that I acquired to splash to you so that you give me your votes? What would be the effect of that?
That is where your development money is going to. In fact, even in development projects, you find that there are people who, when they see you're a formidable candidate, there are people who approach you with their own personal interest. There's somebody who's going to say, since you're doing well and there's a likelihood that you're going to be elected, let me give you this amount of money.
You step down.
To campaign, not even you step down, to campaign, on condition that if you get this position, they give you your conditions. And at times, these conditions are at the expense of development for the people. So there's also those people who are quick to think that as young aspirants, we are claiming to vie, not because we're serious and not because we make it to parliament, but it's because we want to attract the attention of our fellow aspirants and be paid off to step down, or we're just looking for nomination positions. Actually, most young people are being dismissed. And I think this mandate lies with the so-called united opposition leaders who are claiming to have the interest of this nation at heart. I think the first test, and I'm telling you, as members of United Opposition Youth, which is led by Ken Babu, these are one of the things that we're looking out for, because we tried to come up with our own party, a party for the youth, by the youth, Inject Party of Kenya. I was actually the interim national treasurer, and I remember one of the reasons why it didn't go through at the registrar of political parties. They said we don't have a national outlook. They say that all the officials are below the age of 35 years, and we were asking. The constitutional requirement for any person to participate in political process is that you must be at least 18 years of age. Why is it? I know the constitution defines a youth as any person below the age of 35 years. But what is the connection between even, like, I don't even know how to put this. I felt like that was very unfair. And even when you look at even the process of coming up with a political party in Kenya, the first registration fee of 100,000 is already a disadvantage to most young people, because you feel we don't fit, especially ideologically, in most of these political parties that are existing. It would require for us to sacrifice a lot of our belief system for us to become a member of these political parties. And at times, because we want to be elected, you decide to just go ahead and join another political party, not because you're aligned, but because you want the benefits that come from being a member of that political party. So, as young aspirants, we are really keen for this coming election, especially towards the party primaries. We want to see whether these united opposition leaders that have been going around this nation saying that they are the ones with the heart of Wanjiku, with the interest of the people of Wanjiku at heart. And we've even seen them, they're actually subsidizing the subscription fee for young aspirants to join their political parties. But we want to know, at the point where it is going to be about handing out these tickets for us to become, is it going to be a level playing field, or are some candidates going to have an unfair advantage? From where I come from, there's a particular candidate who happens to have a lot of money that is rumored to be a close and personal friend to one of the parties that are very euphoric right now. So I would want to know if all of us are a member of that party, is his friendship with the party leader and his having resources going to place me at a position of a fair advantage. And also some of these fees they ask that if you want to go for the position of a member of parliament, you need to have at least 250,000, or you need to give at least 70,000. Okay, of course I know, because even bankruptcy, you know, you cannot vie.
You cannot.
When you're bankrupt. But you know, bankruptcy is not the same with poverty. Bankruptcy is somebody that has not been able to meet their financial obligations. So I may not be rich, but I have been able to manage the little that I have. And I think that is what should be called financial responsibility. So we are really, really, really insecure. We're very afraid. But we are hoping, we are very hopeful, and we are really requesting that the leaders of these political positions, especially those in the united opposition where I come from, that this time they will not place us at a position of unfair advantage. Another limitation that we have is if you don't have resources, then you're supposed to make sure that you're very famous on the ground. And it almost appears like that person you're saying was going around in Meru on a bicycle. That was a very, it was a strange case. It was a peculiar case. It's not something like, because for me, there are times when I've gone to my ground on a border, and I have been accepted, but in other areas I have been ridiculed. I remember a particular place I was speaking to border riders. I came by a border, and they told me, Wakio, stop lying to us. You're not an MP aspirant. We know how MP aspirants look. They come in big cars. He called it chariots in Kikuyu Mirao. They come in big cars and they have money in sacks. So you, maybe you're an agent or maybe you're working for someone, and they write you off based on that presentation. So Wanjiko, honestly, the ball is on your court.
Okay, now about the issue of Milao and maybe the big cars that you're talking of, and maybe the sacks of money that people need from you. You're very young, and I'm now questioning these people. Where will change come from if what they demand is bring a person with a convoy with a lot of money, maybe to splash? This money is splashed onto you. This is too many. It has cost you. It has costed maybe the 5 years this person be in the seat. Now, in that regard, you're an aspiring MP. Now, we need to know your political party that will be riding you into the seat.
Okay, so, oh my God, you're putting me on the spot.
It has to be, because there's a platform maybe where people have to know what you're doing. And maybe other questions will be coming in after you respond to the same.
I would say I'm in United Opposition, which is not a political party. But in a perfect democracy, I'm a member of People's Liberation Party, which is led by Her Excellency Martha Wangari Karua, who is one of the best legislators in the history of this nation. Even the people of Gishogo, they take pride in her, and she's made it to the position of a principal. She's always been a national leader. She has an impeccable track record. But I'm having a very difficult time going by her ticket on my ground. And the irony of the matter is, I'm vying for Gishogo, where she was a member of parliament. But the ground is inclined towards, as of now, and I'm really hoping this is going to change, is inclined towards DCP. Everywhere you go, people are saying, and I quote, DCP nekiokia makiria kiraria. In translation, DCP ndo chama yenye inakula. Inakula. Almost as though it's a culture we've created, especially in the Mulima region. If you don't join the party that has euphoria, it reduces your chances of election. We even have the constitutional right to vie as an independent candidate. As a matter of fact, the Constitution of Kenya does not require that you become a member of a political party for you to be able to vie. But I would liken vying for by an independent ticket to riding on a boda. You become the body of that vehicle. So the risk is very high. In case of impact, the risk is still very high. So a political party is supposed to protect you. A political party is supposed to help you, even financially. But you find a situation where even DCP party, again, allow me make reference to it, and even PLP, because they don't have elected, because parties, one way that party makes money, first is from the membership, the second way is from aspirants, the third way is from this fund that is given from the office of the registrar of political parties. But this fund is only given based on the amount of elected leaders and nominated leaders that especially elected leaders, that any particular political party has been able to take, either to the county assembly or to the National Assembly. So it means if I vie on a PLP ticket, even PLP does not have resources because PLP is not receiving a lot of money from ORPP. And also, even when you think about nomination positions, a party receives the number of nomination positions that any party receives is based on the number of elected leaders from that particular political party. In DCP, for example, most aspirants have had to inject a lot of money for the party to be able to traverse the country the way that you've been seeing them doing, all those tours they're doing. Aspirants have to go back to their pockets. It's rather draining, it's very expensive, there's nothing we can do because the party doesn't have elected members, maybe those that came in the recent by-elections, so the party doesn't have resources to run on its own. A political party can be likened to a church. You see the strength and the wealth of any particular church, unless the church pastor is very wealthy, the money comes from the congregants. So if we have poor congregants, it becomes very strenuous for the pastor to run that particular church. And that is how I would want for you people to think about a political party. So that is my dilemma. I am still praying and trusting God.
A question maybe that is very quick. Now that because PLP has got now that kind of popularity, maybe it has not that kind of resources that maybe it may need. Suppose maybe you pushed to join this B party. Will you do? Yes or no?
Yes, but I would already be placed at a position of disadvantage in the event that the CP party does not give me a level playing field as a young aspirant. Because there's a leader who's vying for a position in Nyandarua County, and he told me he's not going to the ground again. He has discovered the perfect shortcut. He's going to amass 10 million. And towards the party primaries, we'll just go and present that 10 million to the political party, kununua ticket. Then there are these people that have been very loyal to the party. Those are the ones that are likely to be rewarded in the event that they are not popular. They're the ones that are likely to be rewarded with the nomination positions. So, strategy yangu would be to make sure that I become a very popular candidate in such a way that out of all the political parties that are eligible to garner seats in my area, they see me as an asset, as opposed to me approaching any political party for that political party to be an asset to me. I don't know if you get that drift.
Yes, I understand. And because our time is running out, we've got less than 4 minutes. And what will you do to the people of Gishugu? What is your manifesto in less than 2 minutes?
My manifesto, very interesting question. I told you I have a very different approach. Of course, I have the things that I want to do for the people of Gishugu, but I am giving it back to them. I'm giving them an opportunity to interact with me as an aspirant and share their challenges and share their needs and share their expectation and their ideal member of parliament for me to conform to their will and their desire, and we are together going to develop a manifesto. So other than that, the pillars of Gishugu counties, we have agriculture, so we have tea and coffee, and we have macadamia nuts, we have milk production. So in my manifesto, I have things that are going to be tailored specifically to ensure that the farmer of Gishugu constituency, I'm a coffee farmer myself, gets the best out of these natural resources that we have. Education, it is very close to my heart. I want to ensure that, first of all, there is equitable access to the rights to education. In health, before you even think about making it free, before you even think about meals, before we think about how to ensure that every child in Gishugu has access to quality education and the schools have the right infrastructures, which is a priority of mine, I want to ensure that there is equitable distribution of the resources that are available. So those are my focus points: agriculture, education, and health, and of course, representation. I want to give Gishogo quality representation in Parliament. I want to represent their interests, and I want to be their voice. I won't be Ambunge, I'll be Amjumbe. Yes.
Okay, that's a good message there. And I hope those who are watching you and listening to you, maybe they can get that from you. And on that point, will you come of age once you are put into power?
The heart of man. The heart of man. Even I don't know. But what I can tell you is, I'm trusting God. Since I'm born again, I'm trusting that God is going to keep me within the boundaries of His counsel and His mercy. I can't beat my chest and say that I'm not going to change. I can only say, may God have mercy on me. But my heart is in the right place. My heart is in the right place.
Yeah.
And I am not seeking this position because I want to be in power.
Yeah.
I'm seeking this position because I want to serve the purposes of God in my generation through the people of Gishugo constituency.
Okay, that's great. Now, this is just a short segment that I've just given you. What is your final thing that you feel, before you give your final word, because we've got 2 minutes, what is the final thing that you can't leave the stage until you say it?
Tusichague chama. This time, let us choose leaders for what they represent and for who they are. And let us not fall in the trap of euphoria. Because let me tell you, people who survive in the tide of euphoria are people who know how to maneuver. And the people who know how to maneuver in politics, in most times, ni wakora. Sorry for using that word. I would really want to ask that we try and change this culture. This coming election, 2027, is an opportunity for all of us to change this culture. And also, I cannot leave the stage without re-emphasizing on the need for the young people to support each other. Let us make sure that we register as voters because we only have power in our vote. And let us prove them wrong. They are saying that Gen Zs are not going to register as voters. Let us prove them wrong. This is our nation. And we are bound to be in this nation for the longest time possible. So let us take responsibility.
Okay, now your final word, your names, and maybe the position you're aspiring for in 1 minute.
Farida Wakio Kamau from Gishugo constituency, Kiamwathi area, Baragwe location, no, Baragwe ward. And Malaya by profession, I'll be going for member of parliament for Gishugo. Shout out to all the people from Gishugo and Kirinyaga County by large. Nawapenda sana, tukutane kwa ballot, tukutane ground. Thank you very much.
That's great. And this is Morning Live EBN TV. My name is Jeffrey Kimayo Somba. Thank you for watching. And I hope the segment that we've just given you, it has become helpful to you and forging forward politically. I think you'll be able to know what to do, the steps to be making when it comes to politics. We've had on board a lawyer, Farida Wakio, and she is already helped us knowing some of the political turns and shifts that we need to take or even to check on to make sure that once we elect a leader or put someone to position, we have to be very keen. We have to know the direction that we need to take. And now we need to thank you as we sign out. We need to thank you so much for watching. Remember, you can watch every program on EBN TV on our social media platforms. That is EBN TV Kenya La Cruz. Our SMS line is always 23059. We thank you so much for watching. May God bless you and all the best as you watch our subsequent bulletins and programs.